Is it? Is this like? I mean, they're using your system. Is this like a subscription cost, or is this a one-time fee? We're looking at pricing wise.
Well, I think that they have
System, and then you pay the data plans.
But to access DMI's server, does DMI also charge?
no. I believe that's part of the service plan. Yep.
You buy the system, and then you pay a data plan.
And that's part of that
monthly fee for the data to be transferred.
So equivalent to buying a cell phone and paying for a plan,
It's
basically?
just like a cell phone bill every month.
Exactly. So like AT&T would be billing directly to.
You know, you would just pay us. We would just buy a block of time that we would. If you needed so many bytes, you know, you would pay us $45 a month for those bytes, and they would go to our pool.
And that way you don't have to carry the long-term contracts and things like that. Yep.
The other nice feature is for people that want to use it as a tool. You guys might have buildings all over the city, and you have a trouble area or a trouble tenant. You can move that thing. You just pick it up, call it something different, move it somewhere else. You know? Hang a different sensor on it or whatever.
Yeah, being transportable is definitely one of the benefits. So real good questions, guys. Yeah.
Can you say something about the outuse for like theft prevention for stealing air conditioners?
Sure, absolutely. There's a lot of coil theft going on out there with the copper, of course, and our system here, you know, we have a version of a sensor. It's a modified water sensor. And when you buy these very inexpensive parts, these third-party parts that we work with, we can, you know, screw right onto the Schrader valve, you know, for your coolant pressure, and then if your lines are broke, you can be notified very quickly, within 20 seconds, that someone is messing with your coils. What's kind of nice about it is that they can be strung in series, so if your outside coils are next to each other, you can use one sensor and kind of monitor all 4 or 5 of them, and you know, really get the benefit of watching over those coils, and then you know about it quickly. You can have someone go by or something. We also think it will act as a deterrent, because as people see that there's something wired to the device monitoring it, it might not happen to begin with.
And Jim, if I can expand on that, we have kind of talked about this inside DMI, and they do have you can get a standalone, like you said, the cop car alarm, the siren, yeah. And we can actually wire that directly to it. And we were talking about putting it on the disconnect too. You know, thieves aren't the smartest people in the world either, but I mean, if they're at least smart enough to turn off the disconnect, you'll know instantly, and the alarm will go off. So that should deter. But if that doesn't stop them and they just go straight to the line, you would lose your refrigerant probably, but you would save your coil, which is the most expensive part of repairing a copper theft.
That's right. Yeah, there is a version of our base station which has the ability to set off a set of contacts. So on an alert, the base station can physically set off a bell or a strobe, a horn, a whistle, whatever you'd like. And that was for that purpose, and thank you, Ray. That was came from Ray's. You know, it was one of their ideas. They wanted it, so we engineered it into this MATTA system very rapidly, and that's kind of what we're looking for. We have that versatility. But locally, if someone starts to take the coils, if they set off that system, you can set off a large, you know, bell or horn, strobe, and hopefully they leave before they take more. I've heard so many stories here, at least, what, half a dozen stories where almost an entire shopping center gets thefted from one after another, and that just blows me away that they have that much time to get through every system and no one knows. If you even just set off one thing, I mean, you might prevent a lot of damage.
Which is only one base station. Yeah. Seriously, I mean, one base station and these sensors, and we've kind of run some numbers, and you know, give or take, you know, a little bit here and there, we can put one system in for $2,500, and that is by far cheaper than one system coil being taken.
On average, how far will the sensors work with the base station? How far away?
Yeah, a line of sight, which means nothing in the middle, okay? No buildings or anything. We've got better than 600 meters, okay? So it's very far, many blocks. But if you are within inside of a building, it gets limited, just like any other wireless device. The more walls and metal and things you put in the way, the less it goes. Noisy environments, downtown city will have an effect. But like I said earlier, we have great range for a battery-powered device. We have done a 12-story building with one base station, okay? Certainly enough for, you know, smaller buildings. You know, there's a couple of challenged buildings that we've run into, but in all cases, we have found a way to mount that base station, you know, maybe above a ceiling tile, up high. There's some way to get the range very well. And then you also find that inside of a location, you'll probably find that what you want to monitor is in a specific area. Maybe it's all up on the roof, so you put the base station near that, and your range is fine. So, yeah, range is usually a question. Definitely, it pops up with the wireless devices, but it's amazing what we get done with you know, technically the amount of power that we send out is very, very small, and it's really the receiver that's very sensitive picking it up. So that maintains our battery life. Not only do we get that good range, but it's also for 10 years. You know, it's a long time.
If I have a lot of systems, if I have multiple systems together, is there any way to monitor more than one, just one sensor, or do I need a sensor for every unit?
Oh yes, no. If you have a base station there, and you're talking about the coil theft, yeah, on the coil theft. No, actually, there is a way. If the units are near each other, sometimes they're grouped 3 or 4 at a time. You can chain them together and use just one sensor. Is that what your question was? Yeah, and that does reduce your cost of number of sensors. But if they're separated, then you know it's just a wireless sensor for each one. You know. Yeah. Thanks. Good question. Any other questions right now?
Does the Ethernet base station get rid of the carrier costs entirely?
Yeah, there will be a small fee, possibly, and I know that they're still working on that idea, but there may be a small fee for the web portal access, but it's minuscule, you know, compared to the monthly cost. But that's for hosting the data, backing up the data, keeping your data safe, yeah.
The information that you guys collect here, you back it up somewhere else then as well?
Yeah, yeah, it actually gets kept in 2 spots, yeah.
For how long? 2 years?
Well, yeah. Right now, for 1 year, yeah. One year is what we will provide, you know, for you at any time to be able to get that data. But then after a year, we archive it just to get it, you know, keep the database slim. But that is, the plan is that would still be available to you, if you needed, possibly on request. You would, you know, ask DMI for that information, and we'd be able to get it to you. And we'll keep it as long. I mean, the cloud allows you to keep things for there's so much space out there. So right now we don't know how long we'd keep it. At least 3 or 4 years, I would think, at a minimum. So.
2-part question. Strictly design mechanical proprietary now, and what did you do with your customers? Did they have to switch over to design mechanical?
No, right now old customers do not have to switch over to design mechanical, but at the same time we've made an agreement with design mechanical for this hardware, and now we'll probably be pushing future customers to design mechanical. Design has the ability to install, implement, and support this a lot better than the initial startup that just creates the hardware itself. So we're very excited to be working with DMI on that aspect. It's a good question. Thanks.
Anyone else?
Anything else?
Well, Jim, thank you very much.
Well, thanks, y'all. Thank you. Thanks for listening to me.